liquid to gas at the temperature below the boiling point is called evaporation.
Yeah, change of state from liquid to gas below boiling point. Yes, Reina, tell any one difference between boiling and evaporation. Tell any one difference between boiling and evaporation.
Sir, forgot.
Forgot. Smriti, tell any one difference between boiling and evaporation.
Boiling has fixed temperature and evaporation has no fixed.
Yeah, boiling occurs at fixed temperature, that means it occurs at boiling point, whereas evaporation, there is no fixed temperature. Let's tell one more difference between boiling and evaporation. Tell any one more difference between boiling and evaporation.
Boiling takes faster
Boiling
and
occurs
evaporation
faster.
takes slower process.
Yeah, evaporation is a slower process. Yeah, so today's class we will continue. Next topic is factors affecting evaporation. Factors affecting evaporation. The first factor is temperature. Now we all know what is temperature. Temperature is the degree of hotness or coldness of an object. Here you can read, as temperature increases, what will happen? The rate of evaporation also increases. In a way, I can write temperature is directly proportional to the rate of evaporation. Temperature is directly proportional to rate of evaporation. If something is directly proportional, what is the meaning? If you increase temperature, rate of evaporation also increases. And if you decrease temperature, rate of evaporation decreases. That is the idea. If that is the case, you have 2 days on a hot day and a cold day. So if you put your clothes to dry, on which day will it dry faster, hot or cold? Tell first. On which day will it dry faster, hot or cold?
Hot.
Hot. What is the reason? What's the reason? Now you can tell the reason also. What is the reason? Because on a hot day, temperature is more. Whereas on a cold day, temperature is less. Hot day, temperature is more. Evaporation occurs faster. Then more and more particles will readily jump to gaseous state and drying will be faster or more effective. Clear? Again, I am repeating. First factor that affects evaporation is temperature. What is temperature? It is the measure of kinetic energy or degree of hotness or coldness. If you increase temperature, suppose this is a liquid. In a beaker, you have some liquid. Now, liquid, these are the particles of the surface. Last day I told, evaporation is a surface phenomenon or bulk phenomenon. Which one? Evaporation is a surface or bulk phenomenon. Which one is evaporation?
Surface.
Yeah, it is a surface phenomenon. So particles at the surface. I'm only focusing on particles at the surface here. So these are the particles. Now on a hot day, what will happen? The temperature is more. Temperature means the sun will be there and it will give more heat to the surface. If more heat is given to the surface, more particles can absorb it and come out. A particle get more energy, what will happen? It will go out of the liquid. So on a hot day, more particles will get kinetic energy and can escape into the gaseous state. Cold day, this will be less effective. I hope that first point is clear. Conclusion is rate of evaporation is higher at higher temperature and lower at lower temperature. In the diagram also you can see. The second factor affecting evaporation is surface area. Surface area. Surface area, for example, consider this case. When you put clothes for drying, always we try to spread the clothes and hang it. You will not put the clothes in this particular fashion. No. We will try to spread as maximum as possible. Why? If you spread the clothes, what is the advantage that you have? More particles will be exposed to what? Exposed to sunlight or any other source. Whereas if the cloth is in this fashion, only you have very less number of particles exposed to sunlight. And what is the result? Only this, a very small amount of heat will be affecting the particles. Whereas in this case, all the particles will be getting adequate amount of heat. So evaporation will be more effective if surface area is more. I can also write surface area is directly proportional to rate of evaporation. More surface area, more will be evaporation. Clear? Take one more example. What is this? Cup and
Saucer.
Yeah, cup and saucer. Now, what is the use of the saucer? Any idea? Why do people serve tea or coffee in cup and saucer? Is there any particular use for the saucer or just for show purpose?
Because it is hot.
Hot means to hold. That is what you are saying. It helps us to hold. Yes or no? Any other purpose than holding? Mostly we use the saucer to spread out the hot coffee. That is the whole purpose. If you take a normal cup for coffee, the surface area will only be this much. Surface area will be this much. And we know most of you like to drink what? Coffee or tea in the hot state. So we cannot directly take a sip of the coffee. Why? Because it is too hot and our tongue will readily have that burning sensation. So what we do, when you have a saucer, you can spread a small amount of liquid into the saucer, and readily you can see the surface area of saucer is very high compared to that of what? This much area. If you compare, this is surface area 1, surface area 2, surface area of the saucer is very large compared to surface area of the cup itself. So what will happen? Evaporation will occur at surface area 2 more faster. There will be more evaporation in surface area 2. And I have told, if there is more evaporation, we know evaporation has this cooling effect. More evaporation means it will readily cool down and you can take the sip faster. So the purpose of having a saucer in this apparatus is to increase the rate of evaporation, enabling you to drink the coffee at a faster rate. So this example also proves the importance of surface area as a factor of affecting evaporation. We have discussed two factors. First one, temperature. Second one, surface area. When you hear the term surface area, you can think of either of these two cases, either this cup and saucer or how you hang clothes to dry. Now we are moving to the third factor affecting evaporation. It is known as humidity. Now first itself we need a definition for humidity. Any idea what is humidity? Humidity is the amount of water vapor present in atmosphere. Normally, if you take atmosphere, there will be lot of water vapor present in that region above you, or generally in air. And if I take the total amount of water vapor, you can call it as humidity. So in this picture, I have given two cases, 1 and 2. Tell me in which case humidity is higher, 1 or 2. We have two situations, 1 and 2. Tell me in which case humidity is higher, 1 or 2.
1.
So,
Array, 2, those are telling 2 thing and answer. What is humidity? See, amount of water vapor. What is water vapor? Water in gaseous state. That is water vapor. Here, what I have shown in bubbles. This is a water vapor. This is water vapor or steam particles. In which case, there are more steam particles, 1 or 2.
1.
It is in 1. In 2, there are hardly 4 particles. In 1, you can see more than 4 particles easily, right? So, we can conclude this will be representing a very humid day. This will be representing a humid day. And this is a less humid day. Less humid. Got the idea? Now, what is the main point here? Our atmosphere has a certain limit, or I can say it has a certain capacity to hold water molecules. And if water molecules exceed that capacity, there is no more space for the incoming water molecules. Atmosphere on a particular day has a certain limit to hold water molecules. Once it has reached that limit, what will happen? No more particles can occupy that space. So on a humid day, rate of evaporation will be less. Whereas on a less humid day, there is much vacant space left. So new particles can evaporate and escape into that space. No issues. You can read the same here. Content of water vapor or amount of water vapor in atmosphere is known as humidity. Now, here the point I have told, air can hold only a particular amount. That means it has a certain limit. And if the amount of water in the atmosphere is already high, then what will happen? Rate of evaporation is less. Why? Because no new particles can occupy the space. There is no space. So conclusion is that humidity decreases evaporation. Or I can say, if H is humidity, it is inversely proportional to rate of evaporation. Humidity is inversely proportional to rate of evaporation. More humidity, less evaporation. Next, the last factor, it is known as wind speed. Again, very familiar example for you all people might have experienced during rainy season. Rainy season, how do you generally manage to dry your clothes? Because on all other time you can hang the clothes in what? Outside. Whereas during rainy season there is no much sunlight. So in that cases, how do you manage to dry your clothes? We generally keep it under fan. Yes or no? So keeping it under the fan, chances are that dry much faster. So there itself you know a connection between what? Drying of clothes and wind speed. Generally we say that wind speed is directly proportional to rate of evaporation. And how does it operate? If wind strikes a particular place, the amount of water vapor which is present in the air will be displaced. All these particles will be taken away. So there will be what? A vacant space. And in that vacant space, newly evaporated particles can occupy. That is the general idea. When a wind strikes a particular region, all the existing water molecules will move or they get displaced, and new particles from the clouds or whatever sources can come and occupy them. That is how wind speed affects evaporation. Yeah, so we have completed all the factors affecting evaporation. First one was temperature, second one surface area, third one humidity, and finally wind speed. If any doubts in this, you can ask now. From this chapter regarding essay question, this is the most widely asked question. So take care to study with that seriousness. It will easily award you 4 or 5 marks. Now moving on, next topic is evaporation process cooling. Very, very important. It is the last section of the chapter, evaporation process cooling. So first of all, consider a general surface here. Consider any general surface here. Now on the surface, you have some liquid spread. So you have some liquid. This represents certain liquid. What is the name of heat energy? What is the name of heat energy required to change state? Respond fast. What is the name of heat energy required to change state? Heat energy given or required to change the state from liquid to gas. What is the name? Last class we have covered. If you remember, you can easily answer. Heat energy.
Vaporization.
Boiling.
Vaporization, boiling are all same thing. It is a process of conversion liquid to gas. Here I am asking, what is the name of that heat energy? What is the name of that heat energy required to change?
Latent heat energy.
Yeah, it is latent heat. Only a few of you remember. I have explained about latent heat. What is latent heat? It is the amount of heat energy required to change 1 kg of liquid to gas. Or I have told this latent means what? Hidden. Or I have also explained latent heat means it is the extra amount of energy or which helps in change of state. Or with respect to thermometer, we have seen in case of boiling water, the thermometer will generally show a pause at 100 degrees Celsius. And whatever heat you supply after 100 degrees Celsius, this will not be used to increase temperature, but it will be used to what? That change the state. So again, bring that idea. Latent heat means change of state. So whenever any particle, if it need to change the state from liquid to gas or solid to liquid, it should always have what? Latent heat. Are you all familiar with this term? Yes or no? Are you familiar with this term?
Yes.
What is the use of this?
To go to other country.
Yeah, to go to other countries. Without passport, can you go to other countries?
No.
It is a basic requirement to enter other countries. So here, latent heat serves the same purpose. So when you think about latent heat, you can directly relate latent heat to what? Passport. Why? Because without latent heat, any particle cannot go from one state to another. Here, don't think in what state or country. Here I am talking state of matter. So whenever one state of matter need to change to another, latent heat serves as passport itself. So without latent heat, no change of state happens. With the latent heat, it can easily change. Clear? So what is latent heat? It is the extra heat absorbed by particles to change its state. Now when we go from liquid to gas, it is known as what? Latent heat of vaporization. We have already covered this. You can go revise that previous portion of watch the video, refer PDF notes, whatever, or read the textbook. So again, I'm saying whenever particles need to change the state of matter, they should have latent heat. What is latent heat? Extra heat. Clear? So keep this in mind and come back to the example that we are discussing. So here I have surface. On the surface, I have some liquid dispersed. Now, if this liquid need to change to gas, what does it require? It requires
Latent heat.
Yeah, latent heat.
Latent
Now,
heat.
who will give latent heat here? There is no sun or any. We are not boiling it. If you boil it, it will get what? Latent heat directly. But if you are not boiling it, it will not get latent heat. So there is only one option. What is that option? It will try to
Evaporation.
Yeah, it will undergo evaporation. And how will it get latent heat? It will try to absorb extra energy from where? From the surrounding. So from whatever surrounding is available, it will absorb this heat, or that heat we call latent heat. Fine. So if it absorbs heat from the surrounding temperature will increase or decrease. What will happen to the surrounding temperature? That means imagine the surrounding temperature was 10. Now this particle need to go to gas. So it requires heat. Suppose out of 10, it is taking 2 amount of temperature. Now this will get 2 and it can go to gaseous state. Now what will happen to 10? It will increase or decrease if 2 is taken. If 2 is taken, it will
Decrease.
yeah, it will decrease. And when temperature decreases, what can I say? Temperature decreases, what can you say? It will result in
Cooling.
yeah, cooling. So this is what happens during change of state. Whatever particle is changing the state, they will absorb heat from the surrounding. And what will happen to the surrounding heat? If heat is taken away from the surrounding, what will happen? Their temperature reduces and it will result in cooling. So what is the conclusion? Whenever evaporation is what? Liquid to gas happens, it causes cooling. Cooling where? Cooling in the surroundings. Got the idea? You can count many number of examples for explaining this one. Any doubt in this? Again, you can read this. The phenomena of evaporation takes place in the presence of heat. What heat? Latent heat. Why? Because it is what is serving as passport. Without latent heat, you cannot change state from one state to other. Now, what happens during this phenomenon? The liquid absorbs heat from the surrounding. Very important. The liquid absorbs heat from the surrounding. What heat? Latent heat. And this absorption of heat energy from the surrounding makes the surrounding area cool. Simple idea. Don't try to by heart. Just understand. Any doubt in this? Is it clear or not? No, you will say it now. Next day when I ask, all will be said, don't know, not remembering, forgot, and all. If no doubts means rest any day. If I ask from now on, you must be able to give the answer. That is the meaning of saying no doubt. Don't simply say whether you know it or not. I hope it is clear. Now we have to see a number of examples. So first example, last year also I told, whenever you pour some perfume or deodorant on your hand, you suddenly feel a cooling sensation. Yes or no? It occurs because of this factor, evaporation causes cooling. You can read it. Our palms feel cool when we put some acetone. Acetone, that is nail polish remover. Or generally to remove paint, we use acetone. If you drop acetone or deodorant, you will feel cool because the perfume will evaporate, absorbing heat energy from your palm. Same reason when you feel cold, and all mothers used to apply a piece of wet cloth on forehead. Have you experienced that? On forehead, your parents or elders may spread wet cloth. Have you ever experienced that? Yes or no? When you're feeling cold or when your body temperature is high, yeah, they will apply wet cloth on forehead.
Yes.
At that time, you will feel what? You will feel a kind of relaxation. Why? Because during cold, the body temperature is already high. When the fever is high, the body temperature is high. So when you spread the wet cloth, this wet cloth will absorb this heat energy from the body. From the body, the wet cloth will absorb heat energy. And what will happen? In the wet cloth, there will be water. And if this water get heat energy, it will evaporate and change to gaseous state. So it will result in what? Cooling of the body. The body will turn cooler compared to the earlier state. So this is why you feel sensation of relaxation. Second example is again you might have experienced in your home during a hot day. If you sprinkle water on the floor or on the rooftop, you can feel a cooling sensation. You can all practice this during summer. If you don't have ACs or coolers at home, you can simply practice this thing. Very simple. If I spread water on the rooftop on a sunny day or a very hot day, it will create some kind of cooling effect. Again, these are two questions posted towards the end of the chapter. Why do we wear cotton clothes in summer? Answer is very simple. We perspire. Perspire means what? What is the meaning of perspire? Perspire means sweat. We sweat a lot in summer, especially me and all. I multi-folds sweating occurs to me. And what happens? All the sweat evaporates and take energy. Last year also I mentioned sweating is basically a process to keep your body cool. In biology, you might have studied human beings are what? Warm-blooded animals. Yes or no? Have you heard this term? Human beings are warm-blooded animals. And what is the opposite of warm-blooded? What is the opposite of warm-blooded?
Cold-blooded.
Yeah, cold-blooded. Can you give me an example for cold-blooded animal? Any cold-blooded animal? Meaning
Snake.
what? Snake. Meaning what? Snake is cold-blooded. Meaning what? Their body temperature. That is, if you take the snake's body temperature, it depends on what? It depends on the surrounding or atmospheric temperature. That means if atmospheric temperature is more, the body temperature of snake is more. If atmospheric temperature is less, body temperature of snake will be less. So that is meaning of cold-blooded. They cannot maintain a constant temperature. It depends on the atmosphere. Whereas warm-blooded meaning what? Warm-blooded means we have constant body temperature. Constant body temperature. That is the meaning of warm-blooded. As we have constant body temperature, when the atmospheric temperature is high, what will happen? We will try to cool ourselves down. When the atmospheric temperature is low, we will try to warm ourselves. That is why we use sweater and we go stand in front of fire, burn wood, fire and all. That is what we observe. We need to maintain a constant body temperature. So sweating is basically a mechanism to keep your body cool when the temperature is high. That is the point here. Now, if you wear cotton clothes, cotton can easily absorb water. And if cotton absorbs this water, what will happen? It can be exposed to atmosphere and it can result in more evaporation. So it keeps us cool compared to other clothes. Compared to other clothes, cotton clothes keep you cool. That is why it is advised to wear cotton clothes during summer. Fine. Next is why water droplets appear on the surrounding. This is again very common thing. Whenever you take any piece of bottle or glass from fridge, you can see small water droplets coming at the surface. Can you tell what is the origin of this water droplets? Do it come from inside or outside? Do these water droplets come from inside or outside?
Outside.
Yeah, it is coming from outside. Don't think that it is coming from inside. If you have confusion, whenever you take a cold bottle out of fridge, don't think this water is coming from inside. If it is coming from inside, means what? This water or glass will have some kind of leak. So you must readily replace it if you think it is from inside. Whereas it is coming from outside, meaning what? Meaning in the outside there are gas particles or water vapor. When it comes in contact with the glass, we know glass temperature is less. So here all the gas particles will readily change to what? Liquid state. And that process we know it is known as condensation. And due to condensation only you have this droplets coming. So you can read it. All the gas particles present will condense and change the state from gas to liquid. That is why you can see the presence of these droplets. Okay, fine. So we'll end it. Tomorrow we will discuss NCERT questions. And if any doubts, also you can clear it. Have a nice day.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Uh,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.